Welcome to Healers Talk Healing, the podcast where we gather to explore the art and science of holistic healing, uncovering the secrets to a happier, healthier you. I'm your host, Nina Ganguly, and together we will delve into the intriguing world of holistic healing, delving into the mind-body connection, ancient wisdom, and natural remedies. Get ready for enlightening stories, thought-provoking expert interviews, and practical tips that will empower you to unlock your true potential and embrace a vibrant, balanced life. Whether you're an experienced wellness enthusiast or simply curious about the power of healing, join us on this exhilarating journey as we share the wisdom and insights that can truly transform your life. It's time to embark on a voyage towards a happier, healthier you. So, without further ado, let's dive into the captivating world of Healers Talk Healing.
So welcome everyone to the wonderful Healers Talk Healing podcast. Today we have a very, very special guest. I'm here with Nina and also Professor Dr. Mike Chan. And I want to share a little bit of who Dr. Chan is. I'm sure most of you know me. My name's Lynn Hera-DeVurgis, founder of the Miracles Ultimate Wellness Resources, who sponsors this particular podcast. But Dr. Chan is an incredible, remarkable man, and we are so grateful that he is here with us today. He is the most globally renowned leader in stem cell research and application. His work in anti-aging has helped tens of thousands of people look, feel, and physically experience the fountain of youth in 50 medical wellness, diagnostic, and youth restorative centers in Europe and Asia Pacific. He is a scientist and researcher, author, and educator in stem cells, immunology, and bioregenerative medicine. Now, his expertise is evidenced as you realize that he is the author and co-author of over 50 scientific books on stem cells, and that includes animals, which we'll ask him about that today as well. Dr. Chan is the chairman of the European Wellness Biomedical Group in Europe and also in Germany. So welcome, Dr. Chan. I'm so glad that you are here with us. I want to share with our audience the fact that you have just flown in. You are a man who travels the world like, 20 days out of the month? You're always...
Yes, 22 days a month. I will spend around 8 days at home with my family. And even at home, I still have to work because there's a lot of patients at home too, you know. I'm a Malaysian who has been spending 30 years of my life in Switzerland and Germany. Started everything in Switzerland and then I move on to Germany. I love what I'm doing very much. I've done more than 130 publications in the field of biological and regenerative medicine, trained by the Soviets in the 80s, trained by the Germans, by the Swiss, and spent a lot of time. Also, with the Chinese and the Japanese, you know. So I would say I learned from different masters, and then you have to fine tune it your way. And I believe there's a lot I have done in life. My job is to heal and enrich life, and I will always say the untreatable can be treatable.
I love that. I love the fact that the untreatable can be treatable. Absolutely. Well, you are such a prime person. You were just sharing with Nina and I your age, which you can share with the audience, but that your hair is still all black. You have tons of energy.
Yes.
For those that don't know it, it's 12:30 a.m. in the morning where you are now after a long meeting throughout the day, and you're still moving forward and have so much energy. So we want to hear about stem cells and how you have all of this vibrance, because I think we all want that, right?
I'm thinking the same thing, Lynn. Professor Dr. Chan, I'm looking at you and I'm not far behind, and I'm thinking it took me a week to recover from India. I just got back from India a week ago, and literally I told Lynn, I can't function. So I want what you have, and I'm sure there's many that will be listening that want that same vibrancy and that aliveness.
Okay, I've been speaking, from one center to another center, lectures and some presentation. For the last 12 hours, I was traveling also for 4 hours from one place to another. I just arrived into Beijing, and there was a lot of things involved in education. I love education. The good part about it is I'm losing 60 strand of hair a day, but I'm still growing baby hair. And most of my hair, I would say, I have difficulty looking for gray hair. That means I still have a lot of black hair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And coming back to kind of Jack, like it's never in my dictionary. I will arrive sometimes to Santiago at night, and then the next few hours I do give lectures,
Ah,
And what I would say is that the energy and the stamina means you must have a good stamina coming from your lungs and your heart and your adrenals. And of course, you have to have a good liver along the way. So I believe you need the regenerations of the organ as you age. You are as young as the biological age of your 78 organs. So if you have healthy organs, just like when you're born as a child, and you're stronger, okay, and you have a stronger immune system as a child because you will have the thymus gland, which is born bigger than your heart and is producing the T cells. And then the cancer cells, which was not born when you're young as a baby, it start to accumulate as you age. You are aging the moment you're growing up. You thought you're growing up fast, but actually you're also aging fast. And I'm telling everyone, as you grow older, you don't have to eat so much because every eating entails the usage of your limited organage. Every
ah,
organ have a lifespan. The eyes will start to age at 40, like the heart too at 40, and the heart at 70 is half a function of the 30-year-old. What about your cartilage, your muscles, your bones? They start to go down at 30. And for your skin, the latest finding is that it start to age at 18. It's not 26 anymore. So what about your brain? You have a wonderful brain, but lifespan depends on the health span and the brain span, which again depends on the quality of your organs. And in this case, the quality of your organs will be the biological age of your organ, which is determined by the biological age of your cells and the stem cells. So, what is the cells and the stem cells? You're hearing so much cells, stem cells. Sometimes you're getting confused, What is stem cells,
yes.
And it seems to be like so magical. In fact, all of us being alive today have stem cells in the body. It's just that you have limited amount as you age. So when you don't have stem cells in any of your 78 organs, that organ will not function because it can't regenerate. So the story is telling you here that the stem cells can regenerate. Just imagine the stem cells as the queen bees, and you also have the bees for the cells. You're making up of 37.2 trillions of life cells in your body when you're born. And there'll be one stem cells over 10,000 life cells. But by the age of 18, you only have 45% left of your stem cells. And you're so young at 18, half is gone. And by the age of 30, there's probably only around 25% of the stem cells left. It's alarming because 3/4 is gone. And by the age of 60, you only have 5% left for most of us. And for some of us with a very active, stressful lifestyle, and at the same time, with a lot of bad lifestyle and with health, or you drink, or you don't have enough sleep, or you also smoke and things like this, you probably have less than 5% when you're 60. Okay, and the thymus gland for your immune system, deciding also the mortality of your life apart from the depletion of stem cells, will be almost gone at the age of 65. It produces the T cells, which is born bigger than your heart. By the age of 25, it starts to go down. By the age of 65, it's almost gone. So there was a compromising on your immune system. When you have a poor immune system, the cancer cells in your body, which are accumulated as you are when you're born, and you are not born with cancer cells, but they start to accumulate because of bad lifestyle over time. And there will be a risk of cancer for every woman 2 out of 1. That means 1 out of 2 will be a cancer patient after 60, a risk. And for men, it will be 1 out of 3. So in other words, one of the biggest fear you should be worrying about will be cancer. So it's important to understand that, can we tackle cancer? Yes, if you have a strong immune system, you have to super boost your immune system. It's not just to prevent against diseases or infection, but also to be a stronghold against the cancer cells. And you have a lesser NK cells and natural killer cells to kill the cancer cells as you age. Because our organs as we age is like an old car with the old parts. But the thing with the old car is you can change any parts of the car, okay, if they don't function. But in the case of the organ, you can't change the organ as you want to, okay? You need to wait for transplantation of the organ, and sometimes you don't have donors. So the future of medicine, I'm telling everyone, is that there's a way to do this. There's a way to regenerate the organs. As long as there's dying tissue in your organs, you can regenerate that particular organ. And that will be by transplanting the cells of that organ. You have 400 over different types of stem cells in your body. So do not be confused that there's one type of stem cells or two types of stem cells. For example, the mesenchymal cells, where you take from the placenta or the umbilical cord or from the bone marrow, and they will turn into all kinds of cells. These are tissue cells. You don't expect them to turn into parenchymal cells like the heart, the kidney, the liver, or different parts of the brain. They don't. So that is also important to understand the 400 over different types of parenchymal organ cells. So don't expect an A to turn into an A6, B7, Z10. No. It has to be an A1 for A1 disease, B6 for B6 diseases, or Z10 for Z10 diseases. So in other words, to treat the organ, you have to target which part of the cells of the organ to treat. So it's important to understand this. It's never a one for all in medicine or in science. There's never a capsule for everything. Neither is there a capsule or a therapy for all kinds of disease. Neither is there one stem cells to become the islet cells, or heart cells, or kidney cells. No. To treat the kidney, you should be using the kidney cells. To treat the heart, you should be treating the stem cells of the heart. To treat the eye, you should be using the stem cells of the eye, which can be the retina, optic nerve, or occipital lobe. To treat Parkinson, you obviously need certain parts of the brain. Apart from the whole brain, the most important part is the substantia nigra. That is for the production of dopamine. Again, for Alzheimer's, you need the frontal lobe. Because without the frontal lobe, the short-term memory is gone, so you can't remember within the next minute, But you can remember still something maybe 60 or 70 years ago when you're a child. It is because you still have the hippocampus. But again, the long-term memory storage by the hippocampus will also be depleting, because after 40, you're losing 5% every decade. Every 10 years, you're losing 5%. So all your organs are kind of shrinking and malfunctioning as they age. They don't perform like before. Okay, so it's like high time to do some regeneration of the dying tissue of the cells. You can do that by giving the targeted organ-specific or targeted brain-specific cells. So if you need a substantia nigra for Parkinson, you must give the substantia nigra. You don't expect to give something to become a substantia nigra. It don't work that way at this moment. We are not in that level of science yet. Okay, so it's important to understand that fact. Again, so that means to say it has to be right on the dartboard where you hit it bullseye. And that is the real precision in treating stem cells of targeted organs. You have to look into each organ. Which organ is not functioning, you give that part. And how do I know which organ is not functioning? Easy. By looking at the lab work, the blood tests of you, they don't lie. You will know the condition of your heart or liver or your kidney to a certain extent. So this is where we can look at the condition, and the prescription can come for the treating physician by looking at the lab work of the profile of parameters of each organ. Then they prescribe the cells according to that organ which is affected. So you need a kidney repair, then you probably need the kidney stem cells. Or you come with a cheaper alternative, the peptides of the kidney, a component of the cells. And Which one will work better? The stem cells of the kidney will always work better than stem cells of the cells, and it will always work better than the peptides of the cells. Okay, let's say in this case the kidney. So it's important to understand this fact. So the next thing is that, can you reverse aging? Yes, obviously you can reverse aging. Can we stop aging? No, you can't stop aging because you're eating every day. When you eat, you are shortening your life because your organs have to work. So it's like telling a sportsman, he has limited lifespan on his knees, which is true. As a footballer or soccer player, you have you need strong knees and ankles and shoulders, but you overuse them, then you will suffer in the later part. So can you do the repair here? Yes. Can we do the regeneration here? Yes. And can we do a replacement here? Yes. Everything can be done. So in other words, to extend life, to live longer and with quality life, I always say lifespan depends on health span, which depends on the stem cell span. Okay, taking into account of the good brain span, it's no point to be living longer without knowing what you're doing, and that is in the case of Alzheimer's. And we also have to understand, in the case of Alzheimer, the risk of having Alzheimer is 1 out of 4 when you're past 65. When you're past 75, is 1 out of 3. When it's past 85, is 45% risk. So there's a high risk for us. So can you do some prevention of Alzheimer's? Yes. There's some good supplements in the world which can do that. But the best supplements will always be the frontal lobe. The prefrontal cortex. That would be the best because that is where you're losing your prefrontal stem cells, which is going slow, limited in numbers. So that's how we have to do that. Okay. So that's what I call that you must go into precision. So do understand there are 400 over different types of stem cell and not just one type of stem cell to cure and treat everything. It's important to understand that fact. It's never a one for all. They must be precise. And you can call them the progenitors too. Yeah. This is how I look at life, and this is how I've been treating all along with different types of stem cells. A person may be given 14 or even 20 different types of cells. And some of the cells could be a double dose. Let's say he's a diabetic, you probably have to give him a double dose or a triple dose of islet cells. To treat diabetes, I give you the islets of the Langerhans. I don't give you the pancreas. The pancreas is 13 types of different types of stem cells and cells. So if you can do the isolation of the islet cells, that will be the best thing. It's just like treating the liver disorder. There are 75 cells found in the liver. The only liver cells which can regenerate the liver is actually the hepatocyte. The rest of the 74 cells found in the liver, they are rubbish cells which surface in the liver. They don't do the function to do the regeneration of the liver. So it's important to understand that fact. So again, everyone is saying, oh, I'm losing 10,000 brain cells a day, Mike. That's what you're saying. But I heard that we still have regeneration of the brain even when I'm 100 years old. The answer is right. It's true. You can still regenerate the brain even when you're 100 years old. But sometimes the regeneration is slower than the degeneration. So you loses more brain cells that you can regenerate. So obviously you're going down. When you age, you're going acutely down. There are two peaks of aging when you age faster than before. One is in your mid-40s and the other one is in your 60s. The angle is more acutely down in these two cycles. And other than that, the way you age at 60 and the way you age at 70 or 80, it increases a lot. When you age from, for example, 65 to 66, you're probably aging 3 years and not 1 year. So you get wiser with wisdom with 1 year of age extra, but you're actually olding, or you are actually aging biologically with 3 years, maybe. Yeah, or even 4 years. It depends. So it's important to bless our days every day, that we have to bless every day, and we have to take care of ourselves very well. Yeah, that's how I look at it.
Oh my goodness, this is absolutely incredible information. I had no idea. I don't think Nina had any idea. And as you're sharing the age of these numbers, I'm a person who falls in the 60 between 70 category. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I think I need this and that, but definitely I would like to have that blood test to determine. Now, my mom is in great shape. She'll be 96 this year. So far, no dementia. She still drives. She still cleans her house. She still cooks for the church. She's, very active and doing exceptionally well. So I pray that as I grow up, I can be more like her. And but I still do myself have some challenges, one of which is diabetes. And although my A1C numbers are on the lower side, I'm thinking, does it make sense to have stem cells, even if, say, you're a pre-diabetic, or even if you're not diagnosed as a pre-diabetic, but there's a history of it in the family, for someone to receive stem cells?
Yes, of course. Every one of us, whether we are diabetic or we are non-diabetic at 60, you do need the stem cells because there's a lot of depletion of numbers. And remember, I say you only have 5% of different organs cells. So in the case of diabetic patient, obviously they have lesser function of the pancreas. It's not functioning as well. So you need the replacements, or I would not say replacement, refurbishment, plus the regenerations of the dying tissues in the islet cells. You need the islet cells. I can give you the pancreas, but the islet cells will work better than the pancreas. So why must I give you 13 types of cells in the pancreas when the other 4 will work better? The alpha, beta, delta, exocrine pancreas. So I go into precision. Now, I'm happy to hear that your mom is 96. My mom is 93. We have to make them work every day. Please understand they have to work at least 2 hours a day. Your brain needs exercise and they need some form of working for at least 2 hours a day with critical thinking. So I make my mom go for marketing. She cook for a family of 10. She cooks every day. And my auntie, is telling me, Mike, you are kind of torturing your mom to work like this. You go marketing some more for a family of 10. You have to choose all this and that. They don't understand because to me is she must do some thinking. She must decide what to cook for the day. So that also make her active, and she has never been hospitalized at 93. My mom-in-law was 95, all good. Okay, sharpness of the brain and everything. So we do took care of them very well, and the good part about your mom is living at 96 and going very well. There's high chance she will live past 100, and go further up. And that means to say you have a good genes for your mom too, because I notice you look young for your age. But of course, diabetes is one of the problems which we have to tackle. 1 out of 4 of us after 40 could be a diabetic patient without realizing. So you can do a prevention. Please do understand, as far as I'm concerned, all drugs will kill your kidney. Your kidney, any drugs on heart or kidney or what, on any drugs you make means your kidney have to work, your liver have to work, but your kidney don't regenerate much. If you ask any doctors of the world, they will say, oh, you're born with fixed kidney cell, the kidney don't regenerate. The moment you have a kidney failure, you have to go for dialysis and later a kidney transplant. But we have been doing a lot of publication. I've done 4 publications, that we can regenerate the kidney. We have treated people with stage 5 to stage 3A and with the regeneration of kidney of the stem cells. People are on dialysis for 10 months, 3 times a week, and they're off dialysis for many years, for more than 7 years. And coming from an American doctor by the name of Michael McGuinness. So there are solutions to all this. But I would not say everyone will have a good faith like what Michael is, but Michael is disciplined. So after you do that, he's off dialysis for the last 7 over years. Okay. From EGFR of 9, he moved on to 54, and so he has done 4 stem cells. I'm just giving you an example how we do that. Okay. Now, it is important to do stem cells, but do the right type of stem cell, not just one type of stem cell. You need at least 14 type or more. It depends on your organ.
Even
all
with
this will be with the pathological test. Yes.
okay,
Because all patients with diabetes will not have a good liver. They will not have a good stomach and intestine. they will not have a good kidney for sure. And end game of all diabetic patient is an eye, a nerve problem, and a vascular problem where it affects all the other organs, you know. So prevention is always important than a cure. So if you can maintain the A1C at a low rate, you know, at a low and then well below the border, that means you're good. This is good, but you have to maintain for life. It's not just, you know, and of course, if you're maintaining without the drugs, it's wonderful. Because I'm saying all drugs or all unnecessary supplements is not doing good for your kidney. Okay?
Oh,
Yes. Yes. Your heart and
okay.
kidney don't regenerate much to the conventional doctors, but I would say we can still regenerate the heart and the kidney. I will still do that.
Okay.
I will still say that
Okay.
and stand by it. Yeah. Okay. So
Yes.
how do you know what you need? By looking at the lab work, you know, and we normally will look at the last 3 months. We don't look at any beyond the 3 months because that will tell you a very accurate condition of your current status. So by looking at that, we look at your hormones, you know, we look at your organs, we look at everything, and then we come up with a prescription of cells, you know, or peptides, and these will be done by a meeting of 7 to 8 of our medical team members. Our medical team of 7 to 8 look at the file of one patient. I don't believe in one doctor looking in the file and come up with a prescription. It had to be 7 to 8, and then it had to be signed off by the medical director. So in other words, you will be 8 or 9 people who look into that, and then they come up to a consensus, a prescription of cells and protocols. So if you have 8 or 9 brains to decide on the patient, it's always better than one brain. Okay, so that's how I look at things. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's excellent. So I know that you're going to be in Los Angeles in a few days. Yay.
Yes. Yeah.
And I wanted to know if you are seeing new patients or doing any blood testing or anything like that while you are, and also as you travel to all of these different places. I know that you work with and you do seminars and lectures and so forth for hundreds and thousands of doctors around the world so that they
Yes.
can learn and do what you're doing, which I applaud
Yes.
you for that. But do you also work with individual patients yourself? And when you do travel, do you do any blood work?
Now, normally the blood work will be done by the patient with the treating doctors or the clinic, you know. In
Mm-hmm.
many parts of the world, they can walk into a lab and then they do the blood work, you know, and it's good to stay with the same lab, you know, when you do a comparative 3 months later after your therapy. So we do not do the blood work ourselves. We don't need to do that because it can be done in the country. But in terms of consultation, you know, we have a few hundred doctors in our employment. We have a number of centers around the world, from Europe to Asia, you know, and it's getting close to 50. So our team of doctors are doing consultation even on the internet, you know, on webinars or on the Zoom. Many. We have at least 300 a day. So there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's divided among the doctors. When we look at the file, you know, and all the doctors will look into the file together, and then we will appoint one responsible doctor to look into that. So if someone is having a liver problem, we probably will get a hepatologist to look into that. He will be in charge, you know. So the good part is we will answer everything within 24 to 48 hours. Okay.
Oh, that is good.
And we're giving a lot of good advice here, and then it's not under any obligation. Our job is to save life and enrich life. That is my job. You know, I like to do what I'm doing very much. I'm just an employee in a company, although I may be, everyone say, oh, Mike, you are the owner or what? No, no, no. I'm the only employee in the company. I only have a basic salary all my life. I never have dividend from the company. So whatever the company is making, it will go back into research. So we funded a lot of research to Heidelberg University of Germany. We have a lot of very close relationship for many years, and we are funding University of California, some of the scientists there in terms of stem cell research in USA too. And we love to continue the funding, and we love to continue the writing of books. And I believe we'll be finishing 60 books in the next 3 months,
Wow.
and we continue. Yes. And it's not easy to write the book because we also have to read hundreds of books of the same title before you can even write the book. But the good part is we enjoy what we're doing, and it's a learning process every day. Now, we have probably trained 80,000 doctors around the world. I've done more than 1,000 lectures, in conferences around the world. It's around 50 lectures around the world, international conferences. So we are faced with a lot of questions, and we just love to answer all the questions. We just love to answer because through the answering of the question, we are also learning some new findings. That's how
Yeah.
the world goes. No one can claim to be a master in everything, but some of us will learn more than the rest is because we are more willing to learn. Okay, and we are all more willing to share. It's not just to keep to yourself, you have to share to everyone. So I share to everyone. I don't keep my own PowerPoint. I'm willing to share to everyone who wants it. I love what I'm doing, and I believe in good karma. As a very staunch Buddhist, I believe giving is better than the taking, and I like to generate the good karma in my later life and for my family.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I
yeah,
believe in that too. Absolutely,
yeah,
100%. I love it. So I do have
yeah.
another question. Once a person receives stem cells in whatever area is needed for them, is that something that will last them for the rest of their life? Would they need to have additional treatments moving forward? How does that work?
Now, obviously, it's impossible to have one stem cells and then you become biological 8 to 16 years younger. As far as I'm concerned, if you have the stem cell, you can be younger by 8 to 16 years. It can be proven scientifically by a protein test, or there's a lot of tests in US today, even with a whole test or through diagnostic, you can check the biological age of a person. Now, but it can't be one time. Why? Because you are going down acutely down as you age. The angle is sharper. You go up, you go constant for a while, and then you start to go down again. And over time, you get worse. So it's a kind of dragging game here. We have to pull you up again. And each time you come down, we have to pull. That means to say it's good to do the stem cells every year if you can afford it. You know, when you're past 50, and the problem is you're 60 and 70. Sometimes you probably have to do it 2 times a year. Okay, but there's one thing you can do well. You can do the stem cells and you maintain the peptides. The peptides is 20 times cheaper than the stem cells. So it's a
Okay.
matter of how you maintain your lifestyle too. Okay,
Mhm.
your lifestyle do not have to be changed totally, but you can take away some of the bad lifestyle, and you start to 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 do more preventive in a way and take care of yourself. But coming back to the stem cells, you have to repeat them is because it's exactly like you go down, we have to pull you up, you go down again after some time. Life. The word anti-aging means it's not forever. Longevity is only possible if you continue to extend life. But extending the life without extending the health span or the brain span is useless. So for longevity or lifespan for the last 50 years, it have gone up 2 times. You know, People
Mhm.
start to live longer by the 2 times or 2.5 times for the last 50 years. They used to die at 30, now it will be 80 or more. But if you look at history for the last 20 years, there wasn't any change in the health span. It's the same. So the health span for Asian is around 75 averagely. You have some higher and some lower. And that for the Caucasian is around 65. It's alarming. 65 is low.
That
Okay.
is.
So if you are the guy or the person who have in your 70s or 80 and you're having sharpness and things, you don't have pain and you can walk straight, you're not wobbly, you hear well, you see sharply, you are good.
Mhm.
So you have to ensure that all the organs are working because your eyes is going down at 40. Your hearing is going down at 65. Even your voice is changing after 65. The vocal cord is different. Okay, but the moment you're walking wobbly and you're not going straight, your balancing is off. then you tend to fall. And we do not want to fall and injure ourselves as we age. So in other words, you also have to take care of your bone and your balancing. So when you say a guy who come to us at 70, he probably need the whole brain, he need the pituitary, he need the hippocampus, and because of his memory, he probably need also the prefrontal cortex or the frontal lobe. He probably is wobbly a bit, so I give you the hippocampus. Again, I have to give the adrenals for his libido for a meal, and again I have to give the testes. Again, I have to give a heart. His heart is aging. Again, I have to give the thymus and the spleen to boost up the immune system. I may have to give the mesenchyme and the placenta too. Again, I have to give the pancreas. I may have to give the stomach intestinal. I give the bone, I give the cartilage, and I give the lungs, maybe, you're saying a lack of stamina. I give the heart. You add them up all, it could be 14 different types of cells or 16 different types of cells alone. Okay?
Yes.
That does not include his other problem. He may have other problem along the way. Okay? As you age, you will continue to have more problems. Okay? So when the problem comes, if you can do the prevention, it's good. If you can't, then you have to tackle it as early as possible. Okay? Until the time comes where your organ don't function, then you cannot do anything. Do it early. So prevention to everyone. I'm telling my children, I have 3 boys. My elder son is 30, and I'm telling him you have to do prevention at 30. Not like your parents, they're already in the 60s to do the prevention, but it's always not too late. I'm telling everyone. So everyone is saying, oh, I'm 60, I'm 70, I don't need to do prevention. It's too late. No, it's never too late. It's better to do it early because we want to live long and to have quality long until we die, and not to suffer in bed and living long and giving a burden to everyone. The person who take care of us, the caregiver, suffer more. And most of the time, it could be a spouse with suffering. The other spouse who is not suffering on the bed, but she suffer or he suffer more than the one who is lying there to be treated. So I always tell everyone that make sure you're not a burden to your children. Make sure you're not a burden to your spouse. So you have to take care of yourself, just like in the plane. You put on your safety belt before you think of other things for your children or for your baby. So it's important to understand that. And there's no way we can stop aging totally, but we can delay the progression of aging by 6 to 16 years and become younger. We can do the reversal of aging. We can, in other words, delay. We are playing a delaying game. We don't steal anything, but we have to steal some time to live longer. Can we live to 120 years? My answer is still yes, because science and technology is going very fast. That is good, okay? And you can live to 120 and beyond, because new things are coming in all the time, just like a cell phone. You're changing a cell phone with new features all the time. It's the same in science and medicine, okay? But go with the right staff, go with the right people. Check the credential of the people is important, because everyone will claim I'm an expert in everything, but you have to check the credential. Are they really the ones who can do the job? Because there are so many. Stem cell is such an attractive industry. Everyone is jumping into the bandwagon. Okay, so it's important to understand that. So I'm telling the world you have 400 over different types of stem cells. You also have 400 over different types of peptides and exosomes. Okay, if someone will say the exosome work for the stem cells, my answer is I will always say the stem cell will work better than the cells, which will work better than the exosomes. Okay, and even the peptides sometimes will work better than exosomes because you're going into target precision. So there's a lot of things we have to understand here. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I deal with human. Yeah. I deal with human stem cells. I deal with plant stem cells. I deal with animal stem cells. I deal with everything. The important thing is first do no harm. Prima non se, and then you make sure you deliver. Because if you can't deliver, you better don't treat the patient, because you waste the time of yours, you waste the time of the patient, you waste their money. It may be their hard-earned money. So I will sincerely tell my doctors, my medical team, we have a few hundred of them in our centers. They are all of different specialty. We discuss ourselves. If the patient going to improve with the treatment, if the answer is yes, we will go ahead. But if the answer is doubtful, then we will better don't treat the patient. We don't want to give a false hope. We must
Yes.
give the real hope and turn every hope into reality. So we must have faith in ourselves. We must treat the patient with passion and interest, and we must also make the patient have the faith in us and in themselves. Yeah, it's
Yes.
important.
And you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Passion in and being the person, the doctor who is providing the stem cells, who's taking the
Yes.
time to learn, to continue to study, to continue to educate and perfect what they do is important.
Yes.
Not only in stem cells, but in life, period. I think that's
Yes.
key. But I'm glad to hear you say people can live to be over 120, because I have been saying for the past few years I'm going to live to be 125. So I'm
Why
glad to
not?
hear you say
Yes.
that. Hmm.
Yeah, you probably can live to 130, but you must always do a replacement of the cells of the targeted organ or the feeling organ. As long as when you say a feeling organ or a dying organ, they can be regenerated.
Okay.
You give the cells of the dying organs. You stimulate the dying organ cells, you regenerate the dying organ cells, and you add a refurbishment of the dying organ cells. That is the way to do it. Yes, we are not just going to do something to stimulate the cells of the organ. We want the stimulation, but at the same time, we want to reach through the membrane of the cells, the regeneration, to regenerate every organ. It's not just to stimulate the membrane of the cells. We must reach the organ. To reach the nucleus of the organ, you have to understand all the 400 or different types of stem cells as different molecules, different amino acids, and different proteins, and they have different glycation rate, and they have different transcription factors. None of us, even our twins, will have the same blueprint. That means the thumbprint and fingerprint is different. Same for the cells. It's important. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you. This has been absolutely illuminating, fantastic. I've learned so much. Nina, what about you?
Oh my gosh, yes. And every question that came up, you answered. So I didn't have to ask it. There is only one sitting in my mind, which is, you did say that about at 18, we're kind of like in that place where we need to start.
Yeah, at 18, you only have 45% left of your stem cells.
So what do we do as people? Let's say, okay, I'm not 18, but I have children. I have young children. My children aren't that young, actually. They're 22 and 25. What can I do? What can I impart on them or the younger generations, maybe their children, that would help them then not have that loss at that rate?
Now, one of the way will be to give education on their lifestyle and including nutrition at an early age. Just like what I did for my three children, I will always kind of guide them and give them some interest about nutrition so that they practice the right way of eating. Everything must be done fast as we work, as we grow old. But there's one thing you must do very slowly: eating. The problem with us, all of us, when we are under stress, we eat faster. Okay, when you're too hungry, you just swallow. You don't really chew. You see, the right way of eating will be stop when you're 80% full. The Japanese way, they do it all the time. And in the old days, Lady Diana would say, I stop at 70%. To a certain extent, it's true. You can have more meals a day. But again, everyone will say, oh, there's intermittent fasting is good for me. I have to do 16 hours. But not everyone can do 16 hours. Some people may have ulcer or gastric. They can't withstand 16 hours. So I always say all the organs need to rest except the heart, which can't rest. If the heart rests, we are gone. All the organs have to detox. They have to rest, including the brain. So sleep is important. But unfortunately, I myself is not having a lot of good sleep. I work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's not easy. And especially when you're traveling all the time, imagine 8 countries in 22 days of travel within 8 countries. It's not easy, and you work, you present and everything. But I come to realize if we have our children at a very, very early stage to educate them, they will continue to nurture it and they will do it for their children.
Mm-hmm.
So education is important. I always tell all the patients or clients, the best doctor for themselves is they themselves. And now with technology, you can learn a lot of good things. But again, I have to say, not everything on the internet is true. Because even with Chat GPT or DeepSeek, they will say, they will give you a summary of everything. But what if some of the information was summarized from wrong information? So
Mm-hmm.
it's still summarized inside. So at the end of the day, the human mind is important. You need the assistance from the AI mind, but AI frame, but you still have something to use some common sense, I would say,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
kind of trust everything what people say. It's just like people telling you, I give you a capsule, it's a stem cells, you will turn into stem cells. There's nothing in the world of a capsule or a patch you stick on and you will turn on the stem cells. You can stimulate to a certain extent, but most of the time, I don't believe they can really stimulate. I don't think so. Okay, you have the stem cells all the time. There's a lot of things which can stimulate, but they are not the right way to do that. The right way to stimulate would be giving the targeted organ specific or brain specific way of stimulation, and not just by taking a capsule and think you will work everything and then you don't have to do anything. There's no magic capsules here. Okay,
Yeah. No, it's
nothing works
helps.
better than the cells and the stem cells.
We all
Okay,
have to
Yes.
I know a
remember
lot
this,
of people are
Susie.
saying, "Oh, I give you something, it's magic. It treat diabetes, it treat heart problem, it treat everything." Never in the world any capsule therapy which can do that in my dictionary. Okay, everything must be with scientific proof. It must come with publication, or it can come with proven with books with case studies, and it must be again with comparative figures of before and after.
Mhm.
You know, it's like going for a plastic surgery. Everyone you see a before and after picture, but there's also many field surgery which never show the before and after. You see, you only saw the good part, but what about before, after, and after?
Mm-hmm.
You see a before and after, the after is good than the before, but what about the after and after? So it's important to understand that, it's important. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for that.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you have another question, Nina?
No, I think that you answered the one that I felt was that hadn't been answered in my mind.
Yes. I was just thinking as you were sharing this, Dr. Chan, and you were talking about one pill does not solve everything. I was thinking about the car analogy. If you go buy a car for $200 and you think it's going to take you across country, from in the United States, for example, from the West Coast to the East Coast, which is well over 3,000 miles, you may not make it. But if you buy a car that is in better standing, yes, it's going to cost a little more. It
Yes.
has a little
Yes.
more bells and whistles, but nonetheless, that car will get you where you want to go. And this is the same thing. You want to
Yes.
target
Yes.
specific
Yes.
areas. Mm-hmm.
So our body is just like an old car as you age, but you must service the car,
Mm-hmm.
The car can be serviced easily, but again, with the body, you have to service, you have to monitor, we look for sign. And again, everyone after 60, please do your blood lab work every 6 months
Mm.
I do
and
mine
not
every
more than
3 months.
6 months. Okay, I do my lab work every 4 months. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so afraid of two things in my life. At 64, I work 18 hours a day. What am I afraid of?
Mm-hmm.
Alzheimer, dementia.
Mm.
I want to have a sharp brain and a good brain. I do
Mm-hmm.
not want to be in bed, or I do not want to be looking at people and getting confused. I do not know what is happening around me. So I want to make sure I have a good brain and a sharp brain. I can be independent. Number two, everyone is afraid of the big C. Like I say, 1 out of 2 of women and 1 out of 3 of men is scary. So it's high time to monitor your lab work. When you look at the lab work, you look at the hormones, you look at the tumor marker, you know where you're standing. And
Mm-hmm.
again, you look at the parameters of organ, you know which organ is not functioning. So all this can be done. You know, you don't need an X-ray every year, but at least you have the basic lab work to monitor first. Okay. So it's like a mammogram. I would not encourage everyone to do a mammogram every year, because each time you do a mammogram, you're also destroying the breast tissue. Okay. So there are other ways to monitor all this. So it's the same with checking on your bone health. There's other new equipments where they don't have the radiation. Again, traveling itself is a big radiation all the time. It's like an X-ray.
Yes.
So we are exposed to radiation all the time. And today with Wi-Fi all over the place, Wi-Fi free, and you're looking for it and you're so happy. That means you're sleeping with a Wi-Fi free in the hotel. You are also used to all this environmental disorder. This is all going onto you, and we are taking processed food all the time. The water you drink from the hotel or from the restaurant, they contain the heavy metals. They are not the best water for you, but they are in the restaurant. They are using. No one is going to give you all the filtered water in the restaurant. So this is something we have to understand. If you cut processed food, you live longer. Okay. Again, the way we eat, we like barbecue. We like things which are burnt. Anything burnt is carcinogenic. There's a risk of cancer there. So if you are saying you love barbecue, that is a high risk. I do not believe a black part of the meat. I will always take away the black part of the meat is burnt. So that is the tumor side of the meat. So I want to do my prevention with the way we eat too. And common factors of extending life is, I always say, try not to make your intestine or your pancreas, to work more. So you always have a salad of fresh fruits or veggie to release the digestive enzyme before you take a meal, and not to have the fruits later. You should have it before you have your meal, so that there's a
That makes
release of
sense.
digestive enzymes to protect your pancreas and your stomach, your intestines, because they have a lifespan of around 55 years. Again, the woman would be telling me, Mike, I'm putting on weight. I only take salad, and I'm putting on weight. But please understand, the salad comes with dressing. What is in the dressing? Salt and sugar. So if you want a salad, you shouldn't take away with the dress. You should take away the dressing. So these are some of the factors you have to consider. And if you want to know how healthy you are, sometimes you also have to look at your teeth. When you look at your teeth, the gums is going down, and the teeth is getting longer, and they are a part of each other. That means you're aging. So how many teeth you have when you're past 65 already tell you the rate of aging you already have. It wasn't just the wrinkle of the hair or the patches. Everything is telling on you. So it's important to understand you must take care of your bone health, especially for women after menopause. They age 30% faster. So the bone health is important, because you will go shorter just like the man, but you go shorter faster because you're going with the S shape. You're bending. So it's important to take care of the bone mass. And I say you start to lose your bone mass at 30. So don't you think you need some kind of refurbishment even when you're in your past 30? You may not have to take the stem cells every year unless you have a very stressful lifestyle, or you have many things to do a day, and probably you age faster. Then you probably need it once a year. Okay, for someone who is on a relaxed mind, probably you can take it once every 2 years or every 3 years when you're in your 30s. So
Okay.
it's prevention all the time. Yes.
Does
Yeah.
exercise help with the bones as well? Does
Yes, of course.
exercise?
Yes.
Yes.
Exercise is always good, but as you age, I will always say you don't go for vigorous exercise.
Okay.
As long as you do some brisk walking, okay? And one of the good exercise is hop or walk around, jump around your swimming pool. In water, your weight is compromised, so the joints weight is compromised, and it's good for you. So I always go swimming, when I have the time with my children. If I don't exercise all my life. I never exercise, but I have a lot of muscles with my knees. I mean, I still have a lot of muscles, And I come to realize it's because I'm active. I'm up and down in the clinic. I go to the plane, I rush around, I walk fast, So to me, it's a kind of exercise during your work, So you can still bring on the muscles. But again, there's some people who lose muscles. Let's say they're sick in the bed, they're losing muscles. Can you give some stem cells or peptides on the muscles? Yes. We can give the skeletal muscles or the peripheral muscles to build muscles. Please understand, after 40, when you exercise, you may not have the abs anymore. Because the myostatin, after 40, instead of producing the muscles, will now produce the fats. They will encourage adipogenesis, the building up of fats. So someone is telling me, Mike, I'm 46. I come to realize no matter how I exercise, I still have the fat on my tummy. This is what is happening. So you have to block the myostatin, and there are ways to do all this. There are many ways, I would say, to tame the cat. There's many ways to do something. So there is always a solution to what you're doing. But in the field of biological or regenerative integrative medicine, which we are doing it, the German and Swiss way, which I learned, we try to be as holistic as possible. We don't believe in invasive method. You have to find the root of the symptoms and treat the root, and not just treating the symptoms alone. The symptoms is only for the day. The drug you take is only for the day. Tomorrow you need the drug again, and the next day you need the drug again. So if you find the root of the symptoms, you are able to cut the drugs to a certain extent. If you can't solve the root, you will continue to take the drugs, and at the end of the day, one drug will come to 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 10. So it's important to understand that, because as you age, one will give to another complication. So we have to understand the system here. So we have to really analyze the real root of your problem by looking at your medical questionnaire filled up by you, which you only need 5 minutes from us to do that with us. And at the same time, the blood profile is important. Okay? Yes. So remember to do your blood profile to monitor yourself. All right? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. For me, I do it every 3 months. And what you're saying makes much sense. I also I love green juice, and I love vegetables. I used to be a raw food eater for a while.
Okay, and, good.
But then I shifted to eating flesh again. And now I'm shifting back to having more vegetables. So I like what you're saying, because it's a great validation. I do drink my green juice before I eat. So that is something I do, because I like the taste of it. Most people don't, but I like the taste of it.
I love greens. All my life I love greens, But please also understand, fruit juice, if they are sweet, are also fructose. So they are still sugar. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if someone would ask me what would be your favorite juice, I always say coconut juice. Coconut juice are antiviral and antibacterial. I travel around the world during COVID as a hospital owner. I can travel around the world during COVID, the pandemic, where in the plane there could be 2 or 3 people, and they are like an astronaut, and I'm just with a mask, and I'm telling everyone that as long as you have a strong immune system, it's not easy to be infected. Now we have the influenza news. We have all these things are coming up again and on and off. You have all this. The diseases, the virus will continue to exist. It will come in a different way. Okay? There will be the cycle of coming. And every year you have influenza. But you have a strong immune system by giving the thymus gland with the spleen that will superboost your immune system, that will activate the cancer cells in your body against cancer. So that's a way to tackle all this. Okay. Again, we have to eradicate the transfer. We have to eradicate the senescent cells in the body, which are the zombie cells. That's also one of the risks of turning into cancer cells. Can this all be done? There's always a solution for all this. One of them will be with transfer factors, which we have written a book, and I sincerely think that we learned it from the Soviets in the 80s. There's a lot of news and a lot of publication with all this. Okay. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, Thank you so much, Dr. Chan. And
Pleasure.
This has been absolutely incredible. I'm blown away. And actually, I'm ready to get started with many things that you have shared with us. I will
Yes.
share I will be 70 in a few months. So
Yes.
I'm ready to do some things that
Yes.
help boost my immune system and
Yes.
will help to regenerate some of the cells and areas where I'm sure I could definitely use them. So thank you
Okay.
very much.
I will give you a list of what are the blood profile you need to take. You know, some standard blood profile, so you don't have to pay more than what you have to pay. Neither do you have to miss out something. And I
Mhm.
can give you a general medical questionnaire. Is a standard one where everyone can fill it and know and tell us what they need from us. What is the concern? Our job
Okay.
is to enrich life and treat everyone as much as possible. You know,
Well, thank you.
irrespective of
Yes.
status, irrespective of color, we want to do it for the world. You
Yes, I
know,
love that. Your
heal the
your
world.
heart is with
Yes.
my heart, and as far as that's concerned, which is also
Yes.
why we're doing
Yes.
the
Yes.
miracle
Yes.
resources to bring all of
Yes.
this to the world. Yes.
Yes. We
Thank you
must treat
so
with the heart.
much.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you
Yes,
so
Thank
much.
you.
thank you. It has been a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Yes.
All
Pleasure.
right. You
Okay.
you
Bye
get
bye.
some rest, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us today on Healers Talk Healing. We hope you've been inspired and empowered on your holistic healing journey. If you've enjoyed today's episode and want to continue learning and growing with us, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, and review our podcast. Your feedback and support mean the world to us. Remember, healing is a lifelong journey, and you have the power to transform your life in profound ways. Stay curious, keep exploring, and never stop believing in your own capacity for healing.